Okay, please have a read of example number 7. Okay, so what's happening here? This is a savings account. So I've opened an account with the bank and I've put in $120,000. I get some interest, 5% a year. It's compounded monthly. And I'm saving up some money. So every month, Jason, every month I make a deposit of $1,500. You'll notice at the end I say the interest rate changes. Before it was 5%, and then later it decreases to 4.5%. The question that I'm asking you is, how much is in the account after 5 years? So some of you will already have a good idea of what you should do. Some of you may not, and that's fine. That's why I'm going through this example. You'll notice also that I've got two things to fill in. Why do you think that might be? Two interest rates. So this is a two-part calculation. Now, when you sit the SAC or the exam at the end of the year, I'm not going to tell you that you need to do two things. You have to recognize that. Okay? So, what should we put into the first part? Okay. Which field does that go into, Anthony? PV. And we need to double check the sign. Positive or negative?
Negative.
Why is it negative?
Because it says it's positive because it's
So, remember, if you pay money to the bank, you're unhappy about that. You're losing money. You're sad. It's negative. If the bank pays you money, you are happy about that. It's positive. Okay? So, most common source of error using the financial solver is having the wrong signs. Your job over the next 2 weeks is to do enough practice so that you know which sign to use. Okay. What are we going to solve for in the first part? And what does the future value represent here, Louise? So I agree with you. Future value at what point in time? Maybe after 2 years. Why after 2 years and not 5 years?
Because the interest drops after 2 years.
That's right. And we have to assume that the interest rate is fixed. So whenever the interest rate changes, we have to start a new part of the calculation. So here, 5%. Monthly for 2 years. And if you don't remember, you can just type something like that into your CAS. It'll do it for you. Monthly, monthly. We are solving for the future value, so we're going to leave that blank. What's the payment going to be here?
$1,500.
Positive or negative?
Negative.
All right, so go ahead and do that calculation. Yes.
Yeah, but I was very easy and I thought that after this, but I never did get rid of that.
Yes. Okay, you 12s listening. Did you get this number?
Something
All right.
like that.
Okay. Now, the textbook mentions a very, very important detail which is easy to miss. Tim, what's up? So, It's easy to not read the textbook. If you want to do well at the end of this year, you should read the textbook. One of the things that it says is the bank does not round parts of a cent until the last payment, which is at the very end. So when we define the present value or the starting value of the next part of the calculation, we need to keep these extra decimal places here.
Oh, that's
Okay, so we didn't do that with the payments, but remember you can only pay whole numbers of cents. But here, the bank is going to charge us or keep track of parts of a cent for compounding purposes. The other thing I'm going to mention here is when we define the new starting value for the next 3 years, it's not positive anymore, it's negative. Why is it negative?
you don't get it. You just
It's your money in the bank. Effectively, you have given away $170,000 to the bank. So when you do this calculation, you must keep those extra decimal digits. If you don't want to type it, press Control C and Control V on your CAS calculator and it will copy the number for you. All right, so help me out here. We want to finish off this calculation.
Sorry. Why would you plus the 120,000 with the 170,000? That 120 is still easy.
No, so this is how much it's grown to. It started off at 120K, and at the end it's grown to 170.
for the like from the 2-year mark to 3-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, we still have to compound monthly.
Yep. You'd assume that.
Okay, so
Good question.
now it'd be 3 times 12.
Yep, for 3 years, because there's a total of 5 years. We've done 2 years at 5%, and now we're doing the next 3 years at 4.5%. The interest rate is 4.5. What are we solving for?
Future value.
Good. And we're still making those deposits. All right, so go ahead and try that calculation. Make sure you've got the negative sign for PV. Use Control C, Control V to avoid typing the whole number again.
Let's see what you got, Mr. Chu. No,
Mr. Chu, can I remember?
You can.
Oh, I did not get that.
Oh. You know why? Because I didn't change N.
Mr. Chu. I know the 2, 5, 2, 4.
Yeah, that looks better. Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry.
Do we now round up? Yeah, do we round up now?
Yes. That's a good question. So the question was, do we round up or down? This is the end. So now that we're claiming our investment, it is worth $256,012.17. You round at the end.
Mr. Chu, that ain't it.
Hmm?
I got 252,000.
So you took your comma as the dot point.
What?
Was she good?
So you're all getting a different answer.
256,646.
Yeah.
You know what else I did? I didn't change this, and then I didn't change this. Sorry.
So now you're on the same page. And
252. 252.
252,646.
I don't think it works like that one, Joe. I would like it to, but I don't think it
So do you see? So I mean, memes aside, see how easy it is to make a mistake when doing this.
so much for the word is so used. Yeah. When did you get so used?
Wow. No comments. I'm not gonna dignify that with a response.
You said memes aside. No, because that was like 3 years
I just.
Yeah, I know, but memes aside.
Okay. All right.
What did Doctor
Do we need to make any further changes?
I think you should go to.
No, the fact that you mentioned that, maybe we do.
Sorry.
The fact that you mentioned it, maybe we do.
No. Well, by changes, I mean have I still done something wrong?
No, you
No. Okay, so we've all got the same answer now. Okay.
Yeah. We're good.
I didn't get the same answer for
The first one.
Oh my god.
the numbers are all right. Like I did the same ones and I calculated I got what you got.
Does your thing say payment at end at the bottom?
Yeah. Mine says 17374.25.
You can. You're gonna miss a bit though, so be quick.
I live with consequences,
So Taylor, I'm still getting this. Other people got this as well.
Yes, I reckon one.
So 24,
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
120k,
Yeah.
negative,
Yeah.
negative 1500,
Yeah.
12, 12.
Yeah. And
So delete the final value and then press enter again. The one that you leave blank is the one you're solving for.
thank you.
Yeah. So that can sometimes happen.
I did, but I rewrote it in like so many times.
Yeah. So when you press enter, that's when the calculator does the solving. So if you change one number it won't update, you have to press enter again. With the one that you want to solve for blank.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. One more example and then I'll let you get back to your work. All right. So this time it's a loan. So it's not a savings account now.
This means it's positive for PV.
Great. So
I keep getting like negative FV for some reason. I don't know why.
yeah, so it takes practice. Now, in a loan, you borrow money from the bank.
Yeah.
So at the start, the bank gives you money.
Yeah, I've been doing that, and then I've been doing payment negative until giving them money.
Yeah.
And then is FV supposed to be negative?
So think about it this way. If it's negative at the end, that means to settle everything, you need to pay money to the bank. So if it's negative in a loan, that means you owe money still.
Yeah, so it's saying FV, you still need to pay that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's positive, that means the bank needs to pay.
Okay. Yeah, just okay, I understand.
Okay, so I'm confident that many of you can do the first part. Now, this is where what's different about this part is we're not solving for the final value now. We're solving for the payments. We're solving for the payments in the second part, not the first part. So what's happening here is you take out a loan, and then partway through, the interest rate changes, and that messes up your loan. So what we want to do is still pay off the loan in the same amount of time, but we've got to adjust because of the interest rate change. And this is a realistic thing that could happen to you. You buy your house, you want to pay it off in 30 years. Can we stop doing that? You take out the loan, you want to pay it off in 30 years, and then interest rates change.
You would want them to drop it.
We want it to drop, yes. If you're the bank, you want it to go up, but we're not the bank.
Thanks.
Unfortunately.
Bank person.
Wait, I thought in the first column the interest rate is 5, not 5.1.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, it goes up to 5.1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the second part, it's 5.1. Okay. I'm assuming you've read the question. Why am I solving for the final value FV in the first part?
Because it's the final value after that's in it.
After 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years at the first interest rate before it goes up, yeah? Okay. All right, so go ahead and try this. See what number you get. All right, do we get that? Okay. What is my new value of PV going to be in the second part? So what number do you want to type in, Taylor? Yep. Now, positive or negative? So this is where we've got to be careful. This is a new point in time, 10 years into the loan. You still borrowed 350K from the bank. Right, you owe this much to the bank, but at the start, effectively you borrowed it. The bank's giving you money in that sense. So it is positive, not negative. I know that's a bit confusing. Just do some practice and it'll come.
Okay, sure.
Okay. 10 years at 5%. Total loan duration, 30 years. So how long am I going to run this calculation for?
20.
Okay.
The 2012.
All right, I want to pay off my loan. What's my final value? 0 means you no longer owe any money to the bank. All right, so we've solved for FV in the first part. Here, we are going to solve for the payments. So go ahead and try that. Do your Control-C, Control-V. Make sure you change interest to 5.1. Make sure you change N to 240. Did we get that?
I got positive. Yeah, I got positive.
But that doesn't make sense because you're paying money to the bank.
Yeah, that's why it
So
doesn't
it
make
should
any
be
sense.
negative. Since you're sad about losing money. Yeah.
So did you type in a positive or negative value for PV?
Negative.
It's meant to be positive.
That would make so much sense.
Yeah. So even if you put in the wrong sign in, you could still end up getting the correct final answer. But trouble happens if your final value isn't 0.
It's because he's a Control-C, Control-V.
Yeah, but you gotta know how to change the sign as well.
No. Yeah, you want to round it up.
Yeah, so there's a technicality here. What do you do with the final payment? I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so here I'm just asking for the new monthly repayments, and let's assume to the nearest cents. Okay.
So for the final payment, it'll just be that loss.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, so in an exam situation, they'll be more specific. So here what we found is, on average, we need to pay $2,435.96,102 to pay off the loan. We can't actually do that. Correct to the nearest cent is this. Just rounding it. If you want to adjust for the final payment, Then you round this and solve for the final value and then adjust at the end, as you did in exercise 9F.
So what do you make the final value?
Well, to solve this question, it's 0, because you want to pay off
Yeah,
the
but
loan.
just for that last value.
The last payment.
Yeah.
For the last payment, you would round this. Your final value would be non-zero. If it's negative, that means you owe more money to the bank. So you would increase your last payment by that amount. That makes sense?
Fine.
Get to a F first, and then it will make sense.
Okay. I'm getting there, Mr. Chu. I'm trying the hardest.
Now,